30 today. Hang on. All right, I have no idea. I guess it is Pi Day, so let's draw a pie. Um, like, we'll draw it from the side, I suppose. So Pi Day is in America is March 4th. No, March 14th. Because pi is 3.14, and in the US, that's how they do their dates. It's the month first and then the day. So it's 314. And then it's not, it's 2026. So that part doesn't work. But 3.14 is pi. And then, it's punny to then have pi on Pi Day. So I might stop and pick up a pie, depending on how the traffic is when I leave today. Well, my chat just died. What's going on? Okay. Sorry, just fixing the chat. There we go. Yep. So there's a creator on YouTube called VHeart. So, I was making those rubber stamps the other day. Well, I lost my eraser, but these rubber stamps, the rubber from the rubber stamp to carving them, that they work okay as erasers. They're pretty good, actually. I'm not going to lie. So I have a bunch of scrap of these that didn't make it to the carving stage. Yeah, so VHeart convinced me, gosh, years ago now. She's a math creator on YouTube. I think like her original series was called like Drawings because I'm bored in math class. I'm half remembering. I don't really know. And she convinced me that tau is better. So you have pi, which is, and then you have tau. Well, how do you do t's? Yeah, something like that. And the reason tau is better is because it plugs in better to the mathematical formulas. All right. So if anyone has any suggestions, I'm open for suggestions. Today I sat down with literally no idea what to draw. Just the idea that it was Pi Day and I hadn't streamed in a couple of days and I was meant to. So yeah, you have the the original, I think it was the original book that described how circles work and what pi is actually didn't define pi as 3.14. It defined pi as when you're calculating a circle, it's what you need to use to calculate, or it's what you get when you calculate like the circumference, etc. And the famous problem was about a half a circle. And so then pi ended up being 3.14 because it described half of this circle. The what is it? It's the ratio from the, what is this called? My brain is like at a total loss, but diameter. Oh my God. I know this word better than anything. Anyway, it's the ratio of that to the circumference. And since it was half a circle, it turned out to be 3.14. But if the famous problem, the one that everyone had used to figure it out, had been a full circle, then maybe pi would have been, 6.28. And in some of the problems in this book, which it's not the Principia Mathematica, but I can't remember, in this old book, old math book, some of those problems, this was what pi equaled because it wasn't defined as a single number until later. All right. Let's draw something good. I'm obviously failing today. Okay, let's draw leprechaun. I got all this ink and stuff up here. So leprechauns, it took me a long time to learn this, which is silly because it feels like it's pretty basic to the hey Amia, hey Andre. Amia, I don't know what that is, but welcome. Uh Leprechauns are shoemakers. They're cobblers to the fairies, to the fae. And so they, in old fairy tales, they're often making shoes or trading to get things to make shoes. Oh, okay. Hey, Amia. Amia, I hope. Welcome, welcome. Oh my gosh, why am I so sloppy today? Let's give him a mustache, a little beard. My father was a redhead, and people would sometimes tell him he looked like a leprechaun. And I think it was just because he had red hair, because he wasn't short. He was regular sized. But then I think also the buckle, like often you'll see leprechauns with a buckle on their hat. And I think that's also because they make shoes. They're shoemakers. And so like it's a buckle like like they would put on shoes. You know, leprechauns. Also, I always thought leprechauns were pretty nice. When you hear in American stories, leprechauns are relatively nice, although you are capturing them to steal their gold, so they're not like super nice about it. But apparently, in the more traditional folklore, they are not nice at all. They are tricksy and mean, and they will get you. They will trick you, which I think makes sense. We're trying to steal their gold, so. Oh yeah, let's draw a bunny. I'm much better at animals. I don't know what I'm doing today. I'm all over the place. Okay, bunny it is. Okay, I'm gonna do, let's do it sitting. You know what? Somebody who follows me drew a bunny in a really nice pose the other day, and I'm gonna copy her pose because I liked it so much. And the bunny was like looking back over its shoulder with its body facing this way. And do its feet down on the ground, although that might be silly, but that's okay. Then tail, and then back leg. Wait, yeah, back leg, boom, boom. Okay. We can have its front arms kind of up like this. I think that might be better. Let me find my eraser. Oh, thank you, absolutely. Yeah, I draw animals regularly. I have a whole series of animals and hats that I really like. It's one of my favorite um, series that I do. I do a couple, but I can only think of animals and hats at the moment. And so I'm very used to drawing animals. Oh, yeah. Drawing is so freeing. It's so nice. It took me a long time to like get enough practice to like feel really relaxed when I'm drawing. But I find that's the most important thing for me is to be relaxed because then I can like flow. And then if I'm flowing, I'm like, I don't even know I'm practicing. And I'm just getting all this experience and all this, practice. Oh, yeah, please do. I think drawing with somebody is always great. We have a Discord. It's semi-active. Sometimes it's active, sometimes it's not. But there's a Discord if you can use Discord. It's in my description where people share their drawings that they've done. And I love to see them. I think any drawing also, like I used to draw a lot like in my notebooks in school instead of taking notes, I would draw or really I would draw as well as take notes. Um, but I would always feel weird about my drawings. I would be like, "Oh, I'm like they're not that good." And like, so what? You know? Like what was I drawing for that I needed them to be that good? It was a funny thing in my mind where like instead of drawing, I was drawing for my own enjoyment. I wasn't drawing to show other people like these stayed in my notebooks. But for some reason, I was still like, I wanted them to be like good enough to show other people, even though I wasn't going to show anybody. And it's just a weird idea. Hey, not devil. Oh, we did draw a pie right in the beginning because it's Pie Day. This smell is coming to get people off the internet. That's why. Ooh, it's like one of those hands that are like beckoning you over from old cartoons. Ooh, it's Fury. Mandan trade a Flocan 6. Don't know it. Is this translated? Sometimes YouTube, the man trades a Flocan 6. Sometimes YouTube translates things and I don't know what they mean. All right, man, let's have this like a pie behind this bunny. So I learned to make pie crust. You can buy pie crust usually, and it's pretty good, but it's not that hard to make. I think it's more expensive to make it than it is to buy it, but it's like significantly better, and it only takes about, well, I'd say if you've never done it before, it probably takes about a half an hour. Um, it's a little bit of annoying, like it's like hard work because you have to crush all the butter into the pie, into the flour. But man, is it so much better than the store-bought stuff. I think because they probably don't use that good of ingredients. Um, so I learned how to make pie crust, and then I started making pies. I probably won't make a pie today because you're supposed to make the pie crust the day before. Um, I guess I could buy a pie crust, but then I'm buying the filling and I'm buying the pie crust. That's silly. I might make a pie crust. I think we could freeze it. It just wouldn't be ready until like 10 tonight. Oh no, that's okay. Yeah, I London. Cool. Send to them. Thank you. Thank you for the info. Heck yeah, cherry pie slice. It sounds great. I'm gonna flip this guy over. We have an upside down bunny, and we'll use this other piece of paper here. I'm excited. Um, okay, let's see. How are we gonna do this? Let's block out the shape first. So we'll see it from a little bit above. Let's get that a little bit further. There we go. That'll be the, you know, edge. Okay, this has to come in a little. And then this will probably be a little spilly outy. Whoa, it's windy. You guys hear that? It's crazy windy where I am just now. That's with all my windows closed. Okay. This feels, you know, I think this is a little high. I'm just going to pull this in. There we go. This feels right to me. I'm not going to bust out rulers and what's it called, vanishing points or anything. Let's just see how this goes. Yeah. Put it on a plate. Something like that. Okay. So I'm going to draw some cherries in here. This is still on the sketching stage. Um, you know, I think maybe this would go down a little more. Where's my big eraser? No, I think it was better the first one. That's all right. We'll get there. We'll have a couple of cherries sticking out the sides here. These cherries will be crushed, so they're not going to be perfectly circly, but I think that's good. Aw, a ladybug. Yeah, after we do this pie slice, we'll throw a ladybug on top of it. Um, I'm just looking for my good eraser. Here we go. Found it. Okay. My desk is a mess today. Okay. There's something off about this, so I'm just going to take this top crust off, and we'll do that again. But I like this. I think this seems right. So if we were looking at this pie from directly from the side, it would just look like this, right? You would have no, you couldn't see the top. But we're not, so you can. But how are we going to convey that? Maybe I should have done the... Okay, I feel like that seems right. Let's... Okay, let's get some... I want this to be a little lower because it kind of crumbles and falls in at the end. Because like, that's how pies are. Okay, I'm starting to feel good about this. Let's get some color in here. Ooh, cool. I love drawing. Oh yeah, I already said this, but I love drawing animals. Let's get some violet. We're gonna need for the crust, we're gonna need some yellow, and we're gonna need some peachy color, and we're gonna need some yellowy brown. We have red, pink, and violet for the cherries. Maybe, is there a second red? We'll do 2 reds, pinks, and cherry. Let's do, yeah. This is yellowy brown. I had the wrong brown. Okay. I think this feels right. We might use a blue. We'll put that to the side. We might use that for some cherry juice. Okay. Sharpen this up. Okay, let's get this. Got a lot of pencil down here. I'm just going to take all that out. This too. Basically, we've redrawn the whole pie. Okay, a little bit spilt onto the plate. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to do some circly things for the cherries. Now they are crushed. Like the cherries in cherry pie, they're usually not that circular because they've just been like smushed and baked and all this sorts of stuff. So So I'm being a little loose with the circle aspect of them. Okay. Now I'm just going to come in and do like the bottom left a little darker to like define them as spheres. And then we'll just add some, make the, oh my gosh, it's so loud. I like hear my windows like rattling in the frame. It's so loud. Gonna hit this whole thing with another bit of red. Okay. It's orange. Where's my red? Oh no, that is red. Huh. Okay, I have some pink. Especially around the edges where it's leaked out, I'm gonna get some pink down. And I'm also going to use it to define the cherries again. This time, instead of focusing on the bottom left, I'll focus on the top right. A bit of a brighter color to help turn them into spheres still. All right, let's work on the crust because this is still bothering me. What the hair? Get out of here. You know, sometimes when I'm drawing with the phone, the camera, it'll be hard to get the proportions right, because like the camera is where my head should be. And like after I draw with the camera for a while, it doesn't make a huge difference. I get really practiced. But I just moved the camera a couple days ago, and I think I'm struggling a little. That's okay. It's good to fail. You can always do another one. This took me a long time to learn, and I don't like it, but it is true that it is fine to mess up a drawing because you can literally just do it again. And in fact, when you do it again, just call it your second draft. You'll learn everything you learned from the first, and then you'll have a second shot, and almost always your second one is better. What's that, Andre? Oh, when I mean, gosh, you said your name. Okay. Looks pretty good. We can take this cream and kind of, this will help blend it together, which I think gives it that like golden brown color that really feels like pie. Okay. Now I'm going to take this is violet, because these cherries, they are like, they're dark. Like there's like deep shadows in this cherry mixture when you make cherry pie. And we got to get that in there somehow. And I think, oh, well, come back. And I think violet um, is a good color for those deep darks. You can use like a green mixture because that'll darken the red. It's the complementary color of red. and that'll help it be 3D. We can like do that just for a quick, not this one, let's use this one. Like on this, if you come in here with a little green, you don't want too much because you don't want it to look green. You want it to look like Christmas. But you can kind of see how it darkens it in a different way, and it helps sell the three-dimensionality of it. And that's actually because of a trick. That's how, like, because of how our eyes work, is that green like jumps the blue forward. Yeah, like wine color. Exactly, not devil. Like that cherry, especially when it's like layered thick, really looks like dark, dark red, like deep red. Okay, let's get some more red in there. I think this is going well. But now that we have some purple down, we have some complementary green. We don't want very much of this white. So I'm just going to try to come in here, and we have these cherries. We know where they are. We've had a lot of their shading and shaping done. So now we can just kind of come in and, ooh, look, you can see scratches in the page from either this drawing or the drawing on the page before it. That's all right. Can we, yeah, we can fill them in. I feel like it's really starting to come together with this darker. All right, I was going to try to follow the individual cherries, but let's just slam it. Boom, 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 boom. And now we'll come in with the tip, and we'll, all right, do the same to the crust. The crust is harder because I don't have like the cherries, the red really kind of fits in. It's like basically the color that they are, even though it's a little darker, a little deeper, a little whatever. But with the crust, like it's not really brown, it's not really this, and it's not even really this color. So I'm like, in order to get a solid, really solid crust color, I'm kind of have to just keep going back and forth and back and forth. Maybe a little orange, just a tiny bit of, yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, it's really a lot like cherry jam. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Bobby, also. Okay. Yeah, I think this orange helped just a little bit here and there. Okay. So I was thinking, I think I have a white marker because I don't think this will be able to. Oh, wait. It kind of did draw on top of that. No. Okay. But I think I have a white marker and we can kind of do a um, highlights. Where's my marker? I don't see it. Maybe I'm wrong. No, I don't have it right now. It's lost. It's lost in the mess of my desk. Well, I plan on getting some white gel markers for exactly this reason. So I'll get some next time. We'll be able to mark up the. So what you can do is if you plan really well, you can leave paper for the highlights. And the highlights really, it's there when it's bright white like that, it's like the reflective light. That's called the specular highlight. I just remember it because it's spectacular. Like it's very white, which is spectacular, so it's specular. Um, I don't really know. I don't really know if that's related, but I bet you it is. And we can have some cherry, some red kind of coming up along the edges here. Okay. It feels very cherry. Mm, Let's do a, no, let's do a marker. Not this one. Since we don't have the white, I'll do the opposite. We'll come in with some black. I'm clogging it up with the colored pencil. Man, I am really distracted by this loud wind. I find sometimes having the black can really like explain your intention. Oh, thank you so much, Not Devil. Oh yeah, I think that black, for me, that black, like adding in the little shadows and stuff, really. I have to go. I have to go in pieces because it's just not connecting to the page. That really sold it. This is something new I'm doing. I drew for a long time before I started doing black on top of my colored pencils. I really like it. All right, and let's try doing just a ladybug. Ooh, this is gonna be hard, but let's do a ladybug like in the process of landing. So that means her wing covers are up, or his. We don't know how ladybugs go. Their wing covers are up, and then their head is like das. You know, it's a little big. That makes the pie really small, so let's make it even smaller. Okay, so like this would be the body of the ladybug. It's little, it's hanging down a little bit because it's flying. Its little feet are out. And then their front of their head is just like mostly eye, right? What does a ladybug look like? I've drawn a bunch of ladybugs even recently. I think it's like mostly eye and then like a little bit of mouth, but it's still all like black. And then that's how their wing covers up. So like the red and black spots of the wing, that's like a hard cover. And then the actual wing is just like a regular little wing. And the actual wing is like twice as long. I didn't know this. I just learned this like 2 days ago. Ooh, cool. That like an actual ladybug's wing is like twice as long, and they unfold it and then fold it back up when they put them away. And it's they're like studying how to do that um for I forget what science to do science with. I think to throw things into space or and like have it unfold. It's like a new origami. Okay, I think we've made his face a little fat. I think their faces are a little bit small. Oh yeah. All of a sudden that looks so much more right. Okay. And that's what their wings look like. We'll draw like a couple copies of the wings to make it look like they're flapping. And we'll probably erase them a little bit to give them to make them less and then it's red and black. So we'll do yeah, I've seen some yellow ladybugs. I don't think I've ever seen a green one, but that's cool. They're cool little beetles, man. What is it? Beetles are the most like the most of anything on Earth are beetles. Okay, I have a crappy little pen that I use. Okay, I think it's this one. Yeah, it's not crappy. It's very good, but I've used it to draw on the pencils before, so it's not going to get ruined. It's already like as ruined as it's going to get. And then I have this very thin one. Where is it? Oh no, this, well, it doesn't matter. Where's the This one's very thin. It's plastic nib, PN. Wait, and you can get really thin lines with it. And so because the ladybug is so small, let's get some thin lines with her. Okay. Now I'm just going to kind of erase in the direction of the flapping of the wings, but leave it kind of half done. Okay. Let's get some gray. Do we have a gray? Not really. But I'll get a little white in there. And a tiny bit of, what color do I want to do? Yeah, let's use the violet. The poor ladybug, she's just hungry. Oh my gosh, there's a story about ladybugs. Like, there, we can make it so she's not even gonna. Like, she's just flying around lazily. She's not here to eat the pie. Oh, yeah, I, a lot of beetles I think are kind of gross. I don't like, they're grippy. I don't like they're grippy. One time I was, changing, and this huge beetle landed on my skin, and like it creeped me out. I was like this big. Um, this is me as a little kid, and the beetle was like this big, and it was so gross. Yeah, it was like the size of my hand, like bigger than this. I don't have something as big as it was, but like kind of this size. Comparatively, it was probably this size, but I was very small. All right. Let's see. Let's draw a pie that has birds flying out of it. So we're going to do big because if the birds are going to be flying out, I don't want to be drawing really small birds. We'll be seeing it from a little bit on top because that gives us more pie top to work with. And I'm just thinking of that song, 420 blackbirds baked into a pie. That's the only part of that song I know. I didn't realize. So they used to genuinely bake, um, well, they would put birds into pie. They wouldn't bake them with them in the pie. So they would bake the top and they would bake the bottom crust separate. And then they would put birds inside. And then sometimes they would bake it just for a little bit to like make the connection really solid. This is what I've read. It and like I'm reading about medieval bakery methods. I think it's medieval. It might be after medieval, like King Henry and stuff. Is he after medieval? I think so. Okay. So we want a bird to be like, we want some birds to be like breaking out of this pie. So I think how do birds' wings work? Something like that. And then this part will still be in the pie, but it'll be like, and then this one will already be mostly out. So it's on a different stage. And this one, maybe we're seeing the bottom of this one. So we're going to see its feet. Hey, Frida, welcome, welcome. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, we did a pie. We did a pie with a ladybird. We did a bunny with a pie. Oh, I'm starting to notice a theme. And now we're doing pie birds. This is just the sketching stage, so we'll see how all this works out. I think this is right. This feels good. And this one will have a little tail. I mean, they'll all have tails. We'll be able to see this one's tail, is what I'm trying to say. I was thinking, what blackbirds aren't like, oh, thank you so much, Rita. Yeah, I stream 3 or 4 times a week. I try for more if I can, but I'm right now I've been so busy. But if I can, I stream more. But then I also do shorts and I haven't really done any long videos, but if anyone has any suggestions, maybe I'll try them out. I was thinking about doing like, so I know a lot about drawing, partly because I took a lot of classes and then I was still really bad even when I took all the classes. But then I also have learned a lot from drawing, right? Like that's how it goes. And so I've been thinking about um, doing like really simple, like lessons, not like this is how you should do something, like not how to draw X, more like here's why this thing works to draw other whatevers. So, so today in the United States, um, and everywhere, but in the United States, it's March 3rd, all right? Is it March 3rd everywhere? Some parts it's March the next. Anyway, I said March 3rd, March 14th. And the way we write the date in the US is 314 the year, right? And then 314, 3.14 is pi. So today is Pi Day. Also, somebody pointed out that if you write 3.14 and then you mirror it, uh, it looks like pi, right? So that's the mirror. So you guys see that? So it's Pi Day. Usually that's a celebrations of circles and math and pi, but I thought today we could also make it this. Yeah, it's the 14th. I don't know why I said it's the 3rd. I'm oh man, that also means the delay is probably really big. Because I just saw that. But yeah, it's the 14th. I focus a lot on the drawing and then I get brain dumb. But I normally do animals, a lot of animals. I did a stamp carving the other day where we did a rice cooker. This is my first stamp I ever carved. I mean, it's my second stamp I carved, but it was the first I had done on stream. And it's a rice cooker. It's not that great, but it was still good to learn. And then I did a really tiny rice cooker also. That one came out much better. I'm trying to see if I have any ink over here. I could stamp it. Oh, I think I have it here. There we go. I'll stamp it to the side. A little rice cooker. I love a rice cooker, man. I love rice. It's not my favorite food probably, but it's close. Um, it's close. I'm trying to think of like it's little blackbirds, right? What are blackbirds small? Okay. This turned out to be the top of a bird too. Okay, let's get these guys a little bit more serious. Oh, Oh, okay. So yeah, there's a song. I think it's an English song. I mean, it's in English, but I think it's an English song, or at least the version I know is in English. I have to be careful. Sometimes I say things are in English, and then people are like, hello, that's actually a Persian song." And like it's just been translated poorly into English, and I'm like, oh yeah, I should have researched it before I said it's an English song. But this one's about a king and something they used to do in Old England, so I'm pretty sure it's an English song, and it's 4 and 20 blackbirds baked into a pie, and because they used to bake blackbirds into pies, which is a little crazy. Okay, I think this is right. Their heads are a little bit closer in, so let's just bring that in a little. Why? Oh yeah, it was like for spectacle. So they didn't they baked all sorts of things into pies. I've looked into this before because I was like, did they really bake birds into pies? And turns out the answer is yes. Um, but they didn't they were still alive. They didn't bake the birds inside the pie. They like baked the crust and then they also baked the bottom and then they put the birds in and then they put the shell on. And then they brought it out to like feed a king and the court and all the people as a way to like to be like, look how cool this is. Birds flew out of the pie. Okay. So I think I was just a little there we go. I think that's a much better head. And we'll put pie crust in front of that part. And we'll do one more bird here. Let's have this bird be flying like up there. We won't see most of it. So we'll do like the head and the wing. We'll do this one, yeah, with its like wing really bent down. Like it's just getting a flap out. Okay, I think that's good. No, no, yeah. So they don't eat the birds. I mean, I'm sure people ate those birds, but in the when they were baking the pies, um, they didn't usually eat the animals that they baked into the like the spectacular animals, the like ones that they were trying to put on a show about. So they also baked. There's one story where they bake a knight into a pie, and we think there was a a dwarf or a midget. I don't know. I've heard both are proper. It was the person who was only about 18 inches tall, fully grown. This is not 18 inches, but compared to the pie, was only 18 inches tall, fully grown, and they dressed them as a knight and then had them hide in a pie crust. And then they jumped out, and I think they rode a tiny horse. I can't remember, but it was a really crazy story. And like you just did this when you had these huge feasts with really, really rich people, and you're trying to impress them, and like, probably to get money. I don't know how politics worked in medieval England, but it was like the Met Gala. You'd have these like royal feasts, but instead of everyone wearing fancy dresses, although I bet you people still wore fancy dresses, they would the chefs would make these elaborate gimmick pies. Oh, you know what? It's like, have you ever seen on TV? Sometimes they have like a woman jump out of a cake. It's kind of like that. I never thought of that before. It's the medieval version of a woman jumping out of a cake. All right, I'm gonna erase some of these pencil lines, and we're gonna fill that in with some pencil, with some colored pencil. We'll just get rid of some of that. It served its purpose. It helped us figure out what was what. Hey, Oddfud, what up? I almost didn't do pie. Well, I didn't make pie crust, so I'm not making a fresh pie today. But, and if I did, it wouldn't be done because it'd have to cool. So it wouldn't be done until like, ooh, I could make little ones. Those will be done because they cool very fast. I can make tiny hand pies. I didn't even think of that. I kind of wish I hadn't thought of it. We've been going for about an hour. We got a half hour left. Wait, let me tell you, I have an alarm today. It does not tell me how long is left. Oh, yes, it does. 37 minutes, but I might end a little tiny bit early. So 30 minutes. I was reading a lesson that I've not done. I don't remember if I've ever done this exercise, but it's a common art teaching lesson um, that you're supposed to do, and it helps you like think about the subject and the whole art, like art as a whole. It helps you think of it differently. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I thought we would get a pie out also. I thought maybe I would just buy. There's a pie from Sam's, and it's an apple pie, and they use Honeycrisp apples, which are like really nice and sweet. And so they make a pie out of this, and it's so good. It could be a little sourer. Like I'd like I like a nice like tartness to a good pie, but it's still very good. Okay, we'll add a little yellow. Not too much, because like I don't know. I feel like I would have thought this color is yellow. Oh, I didn't say the art lesson that I was talking about. So essentially, you you draw, but instead of using like the tip of a pencil, you would draw using the side of the pencil. Or instead of using a brush, like for these blackbirds, instead of using a brush like this, so you can get all the details in, you would use a brush like this. So like you would really have to um, what it does is it makes it so, is this the blue? This is violet. Is this the blue? This is violet. Huh. I don't have a good blue. Ooh, Amy from Sonic. Let's see. If I finish this, what is Amy from Sonic? What kind of animal is she? She's a hedgehog. Oh, okay, from Sonic X. I watched that show when I was a kid. Great show. I really I really liked it. We did not have uh cable. So when I was young, we had to use the antenna to watch TV, and we were far away from any of the broadcast stations. Like now I live in a place I still use antenna for TV. I still don't have cable. But now I live in a place where like I can get like oop, sorry guys, like 10 or 12 channels. No, like 6 to 10 channels. But trying to do this lesson. I'm like, I'm doing an exercise where I'm using the broad side of the pencil, so I can't do as much details. Basically, what this is supposed to teach you is like details in art are often an illusion. And what can happen is the if you do details too well, too real, they don't look good because they don't look real. Okay, okay. So, Colette, I on a different stream, I think I would totally draw Amy from Sonic. I do a lot of request streams. I don't think I'm going to have time today because this is a Pi Day focused stream. But another day, if you show up and ask, yes, I will draw um, Amy from Sonic. It would be a blast. Like drawing her hammer sounds really fun. I really like her outfit. So I would love for you, if you please come back and ask again, I will draw Amy for you. I will draw Amy for me. I will really enjoy drawing Amy. Let's see. Yeah, a zombie going to eat pie. I don't know. We could we could give it a go. We could see what we can see. 4 and 20 blackbirds baked into a pie. I have to use my left hand here, I think. I just can't get to it with my right. Do this here. Do this one here. So I've added another couple of birds in the background. And I think what we'll do, let's throw like a feather, maybe another feather, just like so it looks like pandemonium. Because really, this would be like it'd be crazy, right? You cut open the pie, and all of a sudden, all the birds would see there's a way out, and they would go, "Oh no!" Because of Pi Day. Like math can be fun, but like being forced, like school can make things that are otherwise cool suck. Like I understand sometimes why they do it, like, but most of the time I'm like, just like make it teach the fun stuff. Like teach the part of it that I don't know. I'm not a teacher. I liked a lot of school, but I also really hated a lot of school. Okay. So what I've done here, and I'll show you a little bit better. Okay, so the ones that are in front, they're going to get thicker lines, and I'm going to come in with the the black and just give them kind of thicken up the lines that are in the front. Just like that. And what that does is it brings them forward in the page. I don't really know why. Having the darker, thicker line makes your brain see them better. And like things you can see better, your brain automatically thinks are closer to you because that's how things work most of the time. That's why sometimes it's an optical illusion basically, but it's an optical illusion we're using to our advantage. Okay. And I'm going to do just little eyes. And then let's add just a tiny bit of yellow to the beaks. I don't want the beaks to actually be yellow, but okay, I'm liking that. Now we're going to do some shading for this pie crust. We'll even do a little... Oh, I have a darker brown somewhere. Oh, here it is. So we can shade some of that with this darker brown. We can use some of this darker brown on the inside of the, or on the back side. So like this crust is behind those birds. We can use some of that. Oh, there's probably like bits of crust that have flown out also. Let's add some of that in. Just like crust flying around. I'll draw some shapes and then I'll just draw in these little lines to make it three-dimensional. And they'll get a little yellow. Yeah, what math did you get forced to do in school today? I was saying probably something about circles. Because if I know math teachers, they are pretty excited that it's Pi Day. At least in the United States. I know that it doesn't make as much sense in the rest of the world where they do dates in the more obvious way. Oh, I'm getting distracted. So like there's something called flow state, and it is the dream of an artist to be able to enter into flow state. It's when you stop thinking about anything else. You're not thinking about like what you have to do later. You're not thinking about if you have any clean clothes. You're not thinking about um, your crush or what TV show you want to watch. You're not thinking about any of that. All you're thinking about, or you're not thinking, all you're doing is drawing or, doing whatever art it is that you're doing. And that's called the flow state. You lose track of time and your brain just totally turns off and focuses its entirety on doing the work. And it is a pretty awesome state to try to get to. I think a lot of artists, myself included, like we do our best work in the flow state. I think that's probably true. Sometimes when you're in flow state, you're it kind of feels like you're taking a nap. But when you're streaming, it's not super useful to be in flow state because you're trying to also have a conversation. Oh, it's windy. Whoa, my phone. You guys can still see correctly? Okay. YouTube is telling me my orientation is off. I don't know. You guys can still see, right? It's not doing anything weird. Okay. Yeah, so I like this. I don't think this is bad, but yeah, I think it's good, is what I'm supposed to say. Oh my gosh. Okay. Which one is this? This is the good one. Don't use this one. This is the bad one. Yeah. I say bad. It's just the one that has been used to do the color on colored pencils before, and because of that, it's a little bit less sharp. But I sometimes need it to be really sharp to do other inking, like when it's focused on just ink instead of coloring over color. And so I try to save one to do that kind of inking and then save one to do this kind of inking. Okay. Oh, I should have asked, what's everyone's favorite kind of pie? Man, I don't know. If I had to pick, I don't know. I like a good cherry pie. I like a good apple pie. Those are probably my... Oh, sometimes I make a really good ginger peach pie. That's really good. Put candied ginger in it. Hmm. Let's kind of get that there. All right, that's 4 and 20 blackbirds baked into a pie. Can you use this? Let me see if I can fix my... Ugh. YouTube keeps telling me I'm not pointing it in the right direction. That's my drawing. Okay. Don't mess about, YouTube. All right. All right, we had a request for a zombie eating a pie. So, how are we going to do this? We'll do it a little cartoony because how much time do I have left? 15 minutes? That's not terrible. Okay. Zombie. Okay. Okay. Well, let's get the basics. Let's get the basics. So, shoulders, hips. That'll be the zombie. We'll do arms kind of like... We'll have them be turned a little, pushing that direction. So arms will be out like this. This arm also be out. So then that's back, that's butt. These are legs. We'll have the legs be sort of stiff. So it'll be kind of like this. Let's bend one of these arms up a little. Okay. And then we'll figure out like all the exacts about this after. We're just trying to get the... Hey, CD, welcome, welcome. It's Pie Day. Let's go over... I want to show you what we drew today. So we did a blackbird pie. We did a cherry pie with a little ladybug. Then we did a bunny pie. This is based on space from the Discord. They drew the bunny. I thought it was a good pose, so we drew that. And then this is... I just drew... This was the first thing I drew today. It was not that great, but all right. Yeah, it's Pie Day. And now we're drawing a zombie who wants pie. So this is going to be the zombie. And then I was thinking like maybe somebody that's dressed as a pie. I'm trying to think like, how do we put a zombie? How do we have a zombie trying to eat brains and pie at the same time? Something like this, I guess. This is their head. So I guess it's a kid. This is their face. This is their eyes. This will be their mouth. Nose. This is just a sketch. Chin. Whatever this is. Mog. Okay. Shoulders. Oh, they should be running away. Yeah, brain pie. Oh, yeah. So there's a Discord in my bio. And on the Discord, I thought you were there, but maybe I'm being crazy. On the Discord, people share their drawings, which is great. That's like the whole reason we got the Discord, is so I could see everybody's drawings. I love when people are like, this is what I drew. today while you were drawing. Like, oh, freaking awesome. Man, okay. This will be their shoulder. This will be their hip. This will be their back leg because they're running. This will be their front leg. Kind of like, "Wah." Okay. And then the arms pump opposite direction. Man, it took me so long to remember that when somebody's running, their arms are opposite their legs. But like one time somebody explained it. No, no, no burger bun. One time somebody explained it and they were like, just imagine somebody walking with their arms and their legs moving in the same time. And I was like, yeah, okay, that is really dumb. Like both moving your right arm, both moving your left arm and leg. And once somebody explained that to me, like just said like imagine that, it clicked and I was like, okay, I get it. So people run with the opposite. Yeah, we got there. We got there. Okay. I have to make this brain pie look good. Let's see. Pow, 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 pow. Okay, a little bit of neck, a little bit of chin. There we go. A little bit of head, a little bit of pie. Man, has there been a movie? I bet you there has, because it makes too much sense. Has there been a movie when like the zombie outbreak happens on Halloween and then people are like just so many people are getting munched because they totally don't believe it. They're like, "Oh, great costume." One time my brother, he had never done any kind of special effects or anything like that. But one time, I don't know why this is little King. He's like tiny Burger King face. He's almost like, I'm a little lad who loves, what is it? Berries and cream. I'm a little lad who loves berries and cream. Okay. I'm not going to have enough time to make this as detailed as I would like. So we're going to make it kind of messy instead. Pow, 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 pow. Have like an eye hanging out. So this looks terrible. So he learned just for Halloween, he learned how to do, ooh, the brain pie is the hero along other pies fighting a zombie apocalypse. That would be really interesting to like have anamorphic food fighting a zombie apocalypse. Sometimes I think about comics where like it's not it's still the real world, but it's not oh yeah, this guy's the decoy. He's like, "Come get me," because his friends are like over here stuck in a car or something. And they're like in the background. And he's trying to save them. And so he put on a pie hat because he wants to make himself appetizing to the zombies. He wants to make sure they follow him. Okay, let's do. I'm just going to ignore the head. It, there's so many things that I'm like okay at drawing, but it just takes me a lot of like a lot of effort and a lot of time, which is fine. And really what I should do is I should draw those things all the time because then it'll stop taking me all the time and effort. Like animals, man. Animals used to be so hard for me to draw. I would take forever. I would draw them very slowly and have to sometimes do two or three drafts. And like now I can just draw an animal. It's like not a big deal. Usually I can get it done first try. And that's how I am with people. I feel like people just takes me forever. Oh, that arm is too long. There we go. Yeah, so I read a comic a long time ago where it was a piece of cheese. This is a bad drawing, but you get it. A piece of cheese and a carton of milk. And they were the heroes. They were sort of anti-villains. They were the Harley Quinn. Anti-heroes, I guess. And I think about that a lot. Like, I think it could be fun to do a comic where it's not it's not people focused. I had an idea for a comic about a cat. Our zombie been messed up. Pie. Pie. All right. I'm going to call it a day here. Thank you so much. This was a goofy one, but it was fun. I wish I had more time. We'd like really do something with it, but we did get 4 and 20 blackbirds. Well, 4 and pie blackbirds. We got this piece of cherry pie, which I like more and more every time I see it. Little ladybug. Wait. Oh, and this rabbit. And the rabbit's like, bro, is that pie? Uh, if you're not subscribed, I'd love it if you would subscribe. If you didn't like the video, I'd love it if you would like the video. And what's today? Saturday? So I'll probably stream again. Tuesday, I think, is the next day on the rotation. And if I stream sooner, I will post about it. All right. Thank you, guys.